All right, guys, listen back. Welcome back to Real Estate Lunchbox. I'm your guy, Leon Duncan. I'm your host today. Real Estate Lunchbox is where the culture meets real estate. And this is how we do 20 years in a real estate business. Fix and flip, buy and holds, traditional. Yeah, your boy's been doing this. So, Real Estate Lunchbox is where we turn around and we're going to stream and give you the latest in real estate news, helping you make the right real estate decisions. And we'll talk a little bit about the culture also. So speaking about the culture, I got one I want to talk to you about, Lizzo. So I know I'm jumping into this really hot. I got a bunch of stuff I got to do today, man. But I don't want to keep missing these shows and adjusting these shows for later times or just not doing it that day simply because I'm working on some real estate related activities. So I'm gonna give you the best that I got to give you, hoping that the value that I add to you will switch it up for you in the business, and you'll be able to get out here and win. I came by this on TikTok, and I just had to I had to put this out there. Go ahead, check it out.
Wholesaling real estate is not for the weak. I had a deal where I knew I could have made like 20K and the buyer still was going to make about maybe 27% cash on cash return. It was a fucking deal. Do you want to know why this deal did not close? The dude calls me, the buyer's like, yeah, bro, I love this deal. Like, I love the numbers on it. But I went and looked at it on Google Maps. It's in a great area, but the door's facing the south. I just got my superstitions and stuff like that. And it's not facing my positive direction. I hear this shit. I'm like,
First, I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so if you don't know what wholesaling real estate is, wholesaling real estate is a way for you to buy real estate at a low price and resell it without having to close on the property. You tie it up in a loan. You tie it up under contract, and you're able to assign that contract. That's what we do in wholesaling real estate. Now, there's some steps in between, some things in between, but if you put it together and do it the right way, you can turn around and create a six-figure income or even a side hustle based on the time that you're ready to put in to supplement your current income. Now, we're in an economy right now. People are losing their jobs. The business space in itself is modernizing. I guess that's the best way to put it. I don't know if it's modernizing, but yeah, it is modernizing because they're switching out individuals for AI, like we all know. But one thing that will never change is real estate. Real estate is is not a commodity. I'm sorry. It's an asset, and assets make you money. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. But this is a double stack because you're just not flipping contracts. You're flipping it and taking over the property. You're not doing that. You're getting the option to take over the property, but you're creating a business that you can work from anywhere in the world. You don't have to have boots on the ground. You're working a business that you can now build side income. And that's the most important thing, building side income. I want you to remember that because that is the real purpose for wholesaling. It's not designed to make you a super investor. It's not designed to make you a fix and flipper. It's not designed for you to be able to build a ton of rentals off of. It's designed for you to build a business that you can run remotely anywhere in the world. Now, in the course of that, if you decide that you want to turn around and keep that property, we're on a different conversation. We're getting into buying and holding. We're getting into fixing and flipping, which I tell people, wholesaling real estate is the gateway drug to that. How about I just say gateway to that? Because a lot of people find out they feel comfortable in writing contracts, locking it in, and selling the contract, and they become more and more comfortable to the point that after they've toured the property, learned so many times on assessing the value of the property, they're able now to step to the next phase, which would be not selling the contract, but taking full possession of that piece of land or home or multifamily. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's go.
What you mean the door's not facing your positive direction? So yeah, it's just superstition, man. It's bad luck if it's facing my negative direction. I said, so you're going to pass up on 27% cash on cash return because of the door like that? It's like, I know, man. I know it sounds weird, man, but that's just how I am. I can't make this stuff up, bro. I can't make this stuff up. Wholesaling.
He can't make it up. I couldn't make it up myself if I told you some of the craziest stories that came out of wholesaling. You learn people and people's excuses as well as you learn yourself. It is not for the faint at heart. It is not for the person that is one foot in, 1 foot out. It is for the people that are committed, that don't mind getting nose told to them either on the phone, via texts, or face to face. It doesn't matter. And they embrace it and they use it to become better and to do better moving forward. That is the reason why you learn wholesaling. Think of it as not having your real estate license, but getting the opportunity to learn, I don't say everything real estate agents know. Well, getting a good understanding of the working business of realty. Yeah, realty is a working business, but you get a better understanding of it, and we do that through wholesaling. So, like, subscribe, follow to this channel, because wholesaling in itself is a great way to now enter into the real estate market and begin to understand what we do in real estate, how we do those things in real estate. And you can stop listening to some of these gurus that are out here that lie and they make it seem complicated. It is not complicated. It is more mental, because some people can't handle the no, and some people embrace the no. Some people don't let that stop them. And if you're somebody that doesn't let it stop you, like, subscribe to this channel, because I love talking about that as a tool to build side hustle and income, and showing you how I do it. We have a school community that's going to be launching in the next few days, where you can jump in and learn the art of wholesaling from someone that has done it for 10 years, and that's 20 years in the real estate business, which separates me. I've bought fix and flips. I've bought, I've bought buy and holds. I've bought owner financing. All these things came to me because of the understanding and the usage of wholesaling. Let's go. So I got another story I'm going to share with you before we get into the main topic. We're going to talk about main topic, of course, this Vantage loan versus the Fico loan score change, the huge change that just took place, that's going to make it where a lot of people like you, if you're watching this and you're a renter like you, I'm talking specifically to you, a lot of people like you can now begin to turn around and begin to pay your rent, because you're paying your rent already, but use that payment that you're paying for your rent, that utility, to be able to finance your next house. Is going to go towards your credibility with the lenders to being able to get a loan. This is the change that just took place within the last 24 hours, and I want to jump deeper into it. But before I even get into this whole conversation, let's talk about the culture in real estate. And one of the best things I could pull out with the culture of real estate, or real estate culture, because I know a lot of people do real estate videos, and they love to talk to you about the mechanics and how it benefits you, and we talk about that too. But I love you to be entertained so you can make good decisions through that and learn something through this entertainment. People learn through entertainment. They learn through laughing. They learn through the experience. But you can learn something through this and not do these stupid things that some of these stars, these people that they tell you are stars, do. You don't be like them, because they not like us. Oh no. Okay, I'm telling you, they not like us. Oh no. Yeah, for real. You on a better place.
Congratulations, well done.
Keep rocking. Okay, so Lizzo sold her $11.2 million home in LA at a big loss. Truth hurts, right? Singer, 90210 property. This is 90210 Beverly Hills. Used to be owned by Harry Styles. Has traded in her nearly a $4 million loss to get rid of this property. Okay, less than she paid in 2022. Don't feel special. People are going to be selling at a loss right now. As the market begins to adjust for you buyers that's out there, this is your buyer's advantage. Somebody took advantage of this and they made a grip. They came into it instantly with a $4 million equity position. Yeah, did she lose money? No, The property didn't lose money. She lost money. Because when you list these high-end homes, and I've listed high-end properties, high-end condos. I sold the largest high-end condo in downtown Atlanta. Um, yeah, big. We're talking about a elevator, two balconies, jacuzzi, overlooking Centennial Square in Atlanta, downtown, right across from the Mercedes-Benz and State Farm Arena. You cannot expect to put those types of properties out and get them done in a year. Sometimes they may get done in a year, just depending on how you price it, how desirable it is. But most of the time, these properties take months because you're looking for the right buyer. And then if you're talking about LA's market is completely different. But after more than a year on the market with no takers, Lizzo has finally offloaded her modern residence, tucked away in a celebrity-packed enclave in the mountains above Beverly Hills. Initially offered for just under $16 million in the late 2024, the home was relisted again several times before disappearing from the listing and resurfacing at a discounted $12.5 million in January. Why did it happen like that? Because when I listed high end, it happened like that because when you put it out there and you're in that peak season and no bites are coming in that peak season, which was last year, probably around this time, no bites were coming at that number. She pulled it off the market, which I advise sellers to do. Hint, hint, if you're a seller doing it or you're potentially selling down the line or a buyer, doesn't matter. Got a call. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Auntie, I am on a stream. All right, I should be done in about half. I'll call you back. All right, bye-bye. Okay, cool. Me and my aunt, we do business together. We do business. Okay, so the property gets put on the market. You don't get the bites. You got to turn around and pull it off the market so you can get a fresh MLS number, fresh eyes. Ah, it happens. It just is just a benefit for the algorithm, for you and the algorithm with your property. The place has now been sold to an unnamed buyer for 11.15 million. Dang. Which is a staggering 3.85 million less than the Grammy winners rapper flutist paid in 2022. So she's had this since 2024 years. James Harris of Carrollwood Estate held the listing with Patrick Martin of Sotheby's International Realty reaping the buyer, and Harry Styles owned the property from 2014 to 2016. But the house was subsequently demolished, rebuilt again before, and when it was rebuilt, it was sold to Warner Brothers CEO, co-chairman Aaron Baysuck in 2019 for $11 million. The Detroit-born musician acquired the sleek wood and stone structure from Bayshak for $14 million. So he made the profit because he sold it for 11. He bought it for 11, right? Sold it to her for 15, and now she resells it 4 years later. Sucky, losing that $4 million appreciation gain that he experienced. But the market was different at that time, of course. See, when markets like this go down, that's why I tell people this is the advantage. This is the buyer's advantage right now. When the market starts to dip, people have to sell for whatever reason. She may have been pulling her money out. She needed to do it use it for something else. Who knows? We know Lizzo got a bunch of stuff going on right now. She holding, well, we're not going to get into whose baby she got right now. We're not getting into any of that. But one thing is 100% sure. She took a bath. Okay, close to $4 million loss. I'm sorry, close to $4 million loss. Okay, the treehouse inspired oasis sits beyond the walls and gates in an exclusive enclave where nearby neighbors, including Lisa Vanderpool, Jessica Alba, Demi Moore, 3 bedrooms near all of them is a 3-bedroom, 5-bathroom Bathrooms are filtered across roughly 4,500 square feet. Dang, y'all paid for a 3-bedroom and 5-bath in Beverly Hills? Oh, maybe it was some of these guys, they parked their money in those type of things. They use that to park their money to gain their appreciation, to take the depreciation benefits. So many different reasons why a star would actually do it. But for some reason, she had to sell, and don't be confused. That is a fire sale. That's a fire sale. Lizzo's loss is a fire sale. It's not. It's not a up. And you can't make the excuses also because of the market as much. We can look at that. We can see the adjustments. We know she bought at a height 2022. Everybody was buying. A bunch of people were paying over market rates for their property. And this is why this buyer's market will turn around and bring in 5 million new buyers off of this new adjustment that was made by the Trump administration working with the HUD secretary to make it possible, to make it happen. Yeah. Yeah, Lizzo took a beating, and she just getting beat down even more, y'all. Because that's not, yeah, she getting beat down even more. Okay, among the notable perks is an oak tree laced backyard holding 58-foot zero-edge pool with an inset spa. Man, they had this thing laced. But she lost out. So Lizzo takes a beating. Lizzo has since then moved on to other residential circumstances, having picked up a revamped mid-century spread in Hollywood Hills, near neighborhood of LA, from actor Jeremy Renner in November 2024 for $12.4 million. She bought before she sold. She bought before she sold with the expectation she'll be able to sell and make. And now she was carrying 2 mortgages. Let's look at this, the real talk. She was carrying 2 mortgages, which a lot of sellers are doing right now because they got to move and they don't want to make the price adjustment to where the new prices are. And for that reason, they stay there and they carry 2 mortgages. Some of them have it paid off, but a lot of them don't. And carrying those 2 mortgages puts them in a weaker position for negotiating, which turns around from that for them, creates a loss because eventually they got to slash the prices. And the real estate agents are still getting paid. But yo, that's it right now. Just drop. Man, yo, I feel sorry for Lizzo. But what can you say? This is the way real estate is played. This is the real estate game, guys. This is it. The real estate games, there's a definite loss and win. Some people win, some people lose. Hey, what can you say about that, right? We're going to pull up this next story. Let's have this conversation. All right. So check this out. Grab this real quick. Man, shout out to all you guys watching me via YouTube, Facebook. Thanks for checking me out. Thanks for taking the time to look at this. Vantage score versus the Fico score. HUD and FHFA announces a major shift in the housing market. HUD Secretary Scott Turner and U.S. Federal Housing Director William J. William J. Pulte. Man, hey, wow, that's William J. Pulte. I did not realize who this is. That is the grandson of the guy who Pulte Homes founder. I forgot his first name, but his whole family, Pulte Homes, the whole family of Pulte. Well, not the whole family, but up until a period of time before the grandfather passed away, most of the family was involved in the business. U.S. Federal Housing Director, they made him a federal housing director. Pulte Homes holds one of the largest amount of, I would say, raw land to do construction on. That's insane. I did not know that was his grandson. And what's crazier, the last interview I saw with him, he was actively involved in the business. He was one, or is one of the very, I'll say one of probably a handful of members of the family that actually are involved in it. I think he's probably one or two or three. Most of them just, they're not involved in it. They never got involved with the father. But these biggest, with the grandfather, this is one of the biggest credit score changes to the real estate market, huge overall in decades. So give you some insight. Well, let's get this going. Let's do this first, and then we'll get into it.
It's good to see you. Well, thank you all for coming. Welcome, Secretary Turner, to FHFA, U.S. Federal Housing. Delighted to have you. Delighted to be partnering with you. You know, one of the things you hear in government is that people don't like to work together. I can say that the two of us very much enjoy working together.
Indeed.
As we try to fix the housing market and fix the disaster that Biden left us with his massive inflation and his high mortgage rates. So with that, today is a great day for American homebuyers. We are happy to announce that effective immediately, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are accepting new modern credit scores that give American homebuyers the credit they deserve for paying their rent. If you pay on time, you are more likely to pay your mortgage on time. For decades, our housing system ignored the simple fact that because your credit score would never count it. So in other words, if you had mortgage history, it didn't necessarily count towards your credit score. Well, that's nonsense, because credit history should include rental history. And so this is a very big deal. Credit scores help set mortgage rates and access to home ownership. Lenders use a credit score to determine who gets a mortgage. And if you don't have a credit score, you can't get a credit score, then you can't get a home. And that's something that obviously this will help fix. Fannie and Freddie use it to decide what.
He looks like Trump when he's talking like that. He has those gestures like he's been hanging around him.
They will pay for a loan, and investors use it to price the mortgage-backed securities that determine rates. In 2018, President Trump and Senator Tim Scott acted to bring competition and progress to this important part of home buying by enacting the Credit Score Competition Act into law. But when I walked into this building on behalf of President Trump about a year ago, the president's law had basically stood to a halt. And that was because the last administration, in my opinion, didn't have the guts to do what needed to be done with the Washington special interests. And strong people like Secretary Turner and President Trump said this is the right thing to do for the American people, and so that's what we're doing. This was despite the status quo driving up mortgage credit scores by 1,600% in just a few years. So these credit score companies, and we don't want to single out anyone in particular, but we're ripping people off, and we can't have people ripping off the American taxpayers, not in President Trump's America. So it is only thanks to President Trump's landslide victory and leadership that we finally broke the gridlock to do this, what's right for the American people over Washington's special interests. Fannie and Freddie, as I said, are ready to immediately start working with approved lenders to accept Vantage score loans. To that end, we've been quietly working on something which we're announcing today, that lenders have already started accepting Vantage score loans. Freddie Mac has taken a delivery already of $10 million worth of Vantage score loans in an initial operational test, and we will be securitizing them soon. We know that there's been a lot of market demand for it. So we've received interest from mortgage lenders, including the.
All right, to give you perspective, what he's saying is that they ran a market test on this. They tested it to see how the market would respond, and they're basically saying that the market responded well. I don't think the market would. I don't know where they got the idea that the market wouldn't respond well to this. How many of you guys are out there and you're renting and you actually want to buy a home? Leave a comment below, okay? The reason, say, yeah, I'm looking to buy, I'm not looking to buy, or you say, yeah, you probably would go and apply, and because we're on a Fico system, depending on the lender you applied with, if your FICO score isn't high enough, they would cut it down. Now, the Vantage score takes into account that you are paying rent. So now they can bring your rent payments, your utility payments into the fold to be able to give you credit towards purchasing your next place. So why is this a game changer? And we're going to continue listening to this, okay? Rent payments now count, like I said, towards your home purchase score. And now lenders who were stuck on using a FICO system can now turn around and use the Vantage system to give you the advantage. That's the Vantage score 4.0. So it includes utility, telecom, payments, history these histories, which normally the average, not the average person, all of us that doesn't own a property or didn't own a property at one time, for me, didn't own one, we paid rent to a renter, to a landlord. We paid our electrical bill. We paid our water bill. We could never use those things to be able to count towards our early payment or our on-time payment history. With Vantage, we can do that. Okay? And I'm gonna give you, there's a couple caveats. Stay till the end and I'm gonna tell you what it is. If you've been renting on time for years, but had a thin credit file, now you qualify for a mortgage. Now you may qualify for a mortgage. Let's say only 1 month of credit history is actually needed to do this, and a Vantage score, you to actually do it and with the score. Whereas in FICO, you need a 6 months minimum. This opens the door for younger buyers. Okay, 5 million new potential buyers are going to hit the market. Told you it's a buyer's market. If you are buying a property or you know someone that's buying a property and they had the pick of the litter, I need you to get this. Hint, hint. Oh, no. You got more competition coming in. That's going to be great for the sellers, but it's not going to be to your advantage. You need to hurry up and pick something, okay? Vantage score run 14 points higher on average, so you get more points towards the required minimum that the lender may have. At the lower end of the score range, the gap is even bigger, meaning borderline borrowers could jump above qualification thresholds like that going from Vantage. Now, this is one of the caveats. I'm going to tell you, not all lenders are using the Vantage score method to give credit towards their borrowers. So you have to make sure that the lender that you're going with uses Vantage score and not FICO. They tested it in a specific group, okay? And after testing it in that group, it's clear to say that the Vantage score worked, and so they said, let's roll it out. FICO just doubled their price, so to $10. So FICO was charging you more to run your FICO score, get the score, and get a house than Vantage was actually charging. To me, that's like a ripoff. It is a scam because you're the only player on the block. Is actually monopoly. Isn't that a monopoly, right? In a way, because you've got all these other people, but the lenders are only using them. Only using them. Lenders are incentivized to switch because the price has been forced to drop. So that means that Vantage, FICO, which was at 10, shifts over to about $4.50, where Vantage was already at $5. So they're right there neck and neck. So there's no reason for a lender to choose a particular go with FICO and you have to pay more and you could pay less with Vantage. I think that's unfair. They thought it was unfair. I applaud them for that change. Trended data. Both new models track credit behavior over time instead of just a snapshot, rewarding people who improve their credit. So prior to this, FICO didn't really track it like that. A lot of the information that FICO looked at was more static. Okay, so let me give you some of the comparison because a lot of people don't know the comparison. If this is how you compare them together, FICO was classic, a gold standard, right? Everybody went towards it. Now this is becoming more of a challenger to the FICO's position. Okay, historically, it needed about 6 months under the FICO credit score to generate a score. Now they can generate a score with only 1 month of history going through Vantage. That's why you need to ask the lender, are they using Vantage or FICO? Static snapshot. FICO used to look at the balances at one specific point of time. Now it's changed, okay? At one time, they started looking at the whole thing over 6 months. But they were honed in specific points of time and balances and things like that, your balances. Looks like at 24 months with Vantage, I'm sorry for stuttering so much, is showing your payment to the debt to the creditor over the last 24 months. So if you changed and you rose your credit and you were able to raise it, 24 months. Okay. Now, shopping windows. 45 days. Multiple mortgage companies or auto inquiries are treated as one hard pull with FICO right now for 45 days. 14 days, a much shorter time frame when you talk about going for Vantage. So if you are going to be shopping that loan to a bunch of, which I advise people, if you're going to buy a house, shop the loan, like shop. Don't just take what you get, shop it to multiple people, multiple lenders. In this case, you only have a 14-day window, where historically we had 45 days when we're dealing with FICO. Shorter window of time, that means you can talk to 3 to 4 people, and I would say call them all within 24 hours. So you have a good 14, 13 days to evaluate who's the best. Collection treatment ignores collections under $100, ignores all paid collections. Vantage ignores all paid collections and unpaid medical debt entirely. Where FICO only used to ignore collections under $100, and newer versions ignore paid collections. That's the newer one. But for us, some of us who bought during that time of FICO, we had to kind of really just deal with that. Let me get this rocking. Let's let them finish talking.
Nation's largest lenders about taking the Vantage Score loans. So there'll be about 21 lenders in the initial pilot that will be able to do it. And when I say pilot, it's not really a pilot because now it's a very real thing. Fannie and Freddie will also have new separate pricing guides for Vantage Score loans to accurately reflect the way the different models work. Now, this may seem boring to some, but because of the mortgage bond market, our first thing with the mortgage bond market is to do no harm. That's our number one principle, do no harm. So this might seem wonky-ish, but we got to get this right, and we believe we have. These new pricing grids make sure that both Vantage and classic FICO scored loans are priced on a level playing field, accurately reflecting the risk weighting of the respective models. We encourage FICO to provide competitive scores as we would like them to be involved, and so far they have yet to produce pricing. Now, right before we came up here today, I did get a phone call from the CEO of FICO, which was very well received. I just conveyed this to Secretary Turner, and we'll look at it. But basically, Vantage Score was at about $5 per loan, and they went down to 99 cents a loan, Vantage Score did. And FICO had taken their prices from $4.95 up to $10, and the FICO CEO has offered to, pending details of a FICO direct program, take the FICO score from $10 down to 99 cents with the success fee. So, Matt,
like, you see that hustle? They knew that they were the big boy on the block, and they were charging everybody who bought a house $10 to pull a credit and know your credit and your score. And I didn't know this. I mean, my homework, I thought, which I figured from historically knowing about Vantage and so forth, and I did just a deep market dive to get some more info. I thought they were still at $4.50. They dropped down to 99 cents. They're heavily competitive. That means FICO is still you still pay more when you pull your credit score with FICO. The lenders have to determine they're going to use your FICO score. I think, and I believe, and I'm going to tell you this, if in the future, if you're looking for a place, you got to keep in mind that the lenders make that decision. You want to find a lender that makes the decision that's favorable to your situation. So if the Vantage score is higher for you, you want to shop lenders that deal with Vantage scores. That's a win right there. If you rehab houses, this is important because my fix and flippers out there, okay? This is important for you because you want to put somebody into place. You don't want to stay in your loan, your DSCR loan, your rehab loan real long. Get in a relationship with a lender that handles Vantage and a lender that has programs for FICO, okay? So you can give whoever comes knocking at your door, no pun intended, the best outcome or the best opportunity to close on a loan, okay? And that's what you want. That's how you move more deals. That's how you sell more deals, okay? And if you're out here looking for deals to be able to sell to people, because we got 5 million new buyers that are coming on the market, go ahead and click the link in the description and sign off for our Georgia off-market fixer-upper list. These are off-market fixer-uppers that we get access to, we put under contract, we bring it to you so you can turn around and find a good deal to rehab and to sell. Okay? That's what we do. We find a good deal to rehab and to sell. All right? And if you're going to be moving to Atlanta and you don't know where to start, I'm also going to put in this video when I repost it, our Atlanta reload package. This is just all the information. This is pages and pages. I think I got 19 to 25 pages of specific information that I validated, I wanted to check and look at, that will help you make a relocation to Georgia. You can choose what county you want to go to. We got county information. We got information having to do with price of houses. We got information having to do with Congress people who represent you in that position right now, so you know who in that political district, who's your representative. So all you need to compare different counties that you're moving into and get an idea of what's happening with those counties and the best place to park your money. Because you're going to buy a house, that's money you're parking right there. We want to give you the best advantage. Let's go.
Massive win for American people if we can get that done with FICO. But either way, it's a massive win for Vantage score. And we'll see if we can get something done with FICO. But I appreciate the CEO of FICO being willing to look at a 99-cent score. I know it's maybe not necessarily the smart business decision for him today, but I think it's the best business decision for him in the long term, and that's obviously up for him to figure that out. So we didn't receive any pricing from FICO 10T. Sounds like we might end up getting it, which would be great, because we don't care who wins. At least I don't care. I don't think Secretary cares. We just want a competitive market. We don't care which.
Look at his gestures. They look so Trumpian. I'm telling you, Trumpian. That's a new word, right?
Company wins. We want what's best for the American people. We encourage FICO to provide those scores, as I said, the historical 10T data. The market needs will be published in the coming months. Home buyers will soon have access to new, more predictive credit scores that count your rent. So this is really just for everybody in the room and the journalists. This is about having a credit score that actually counts rent. Now, imagine that, your rent history. Because, you know, if you pay your rent for the last 10 years, that's more predictive than, you know, whether you were 21 years old and maybe didn't pay a medical bill at a local hospital. You know, if you've paid your rent for 10 years, that should be factored into your credit score. So,
and they never did. Now, there are programs that are out there which say they help you count your rent towards your credit score, but it wasn't an official like thing with like Vantage or FICO through those official pieces you were paying. I've never been involved in that. I don't know what that looks like. If you have, leave a comment. Let me know. I'm very curious. This is not a mandate, too. I want to make this very clear. This is not a mandate. They're pushing them to do this on the heels, or the start, not even the heels, on the start of the full implementation of the process. So they're going through a phase right now where they're implementing this. I'm hoping, well, they're saying further down the line, they're going to make this a mandate where I don't know how that's actually going to work. But at the end of the day, and it makes sense to me, if Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going to be insurers of these loans, then hell, why are they doing what they want to do the way they want to do it? And this is my problem I typically have in the real estate space, because I don't believe, this is my personal opinion, that a lot of these lenders actually play for your benefit, for your advantage. They pay for theirs. They play for theirs. I don't get it, but that's it. So this is not a mandate. The actual mandate doesn't kick in until the full implementation phase, expected later in the transition timeline. At this point, lenders will be required to provide both the FICO 10T score and the Vantage 4.0 score for every loan sold. We'll see. Because it's a lot of lenders that don't carry Vantage right now. We will see. Saying one thing and doing the other, we'll see. We'll see. Comment below if you know anything more about this. Share it. I'm definitely open. But what it does mean is that if you're investing in a space, you're going to have more buyers coming through. I keep saying this is a buyer's market. Take full advantage. We haven't been in this type of market for at least a decade or two. Okay, 5 million new buyers are expected to be affected by this change. All right. Once we see it clear across all the lenders, I believe it's going to create more of a competitive landscape, and it's going to pull some of those properties off of the market that's been sitting there. They expected, I think, roughly about $10 million to about $15 million in loans already been approved, the first wave of this transition. Hey, who knows? Trump looks like he did this, looks like it's good. It may just work, you know? It may just work. If the lenders want to do it, we'll see. Hey, like, subscribe, follow for more content. That's what I'm going to drop today. I won't get into anything more, but I appreciate you guys checking out the Real Estate Lunchbox. Once again, my name is Leon Duncan, 20 years in the real estate business. This is designed to give you the advantage. While you're at it, please go over to my other channel, The Real Leon Duncan. Like and subscribe, follow. On that channel, we rip away all of this business and we get more into detail. I can be a little bit more graphic, a little bit more detailed, a little bit less professional. It's the Real Estate Lunchbox. I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys be blessed, and remember, you made in the image and likeness of God. You look just like him. He loves you. You his child. Forget about what those people got to say about you. It doesn't even matter anymore.